Hello and welcome to the RMR Training Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan. Thanks for joining. Today, we have an episode, just me and my guy, Ryan Kent. He's here in Colorado. We've been chalking it up in person a little bit, so it was great to kind of connect. We talk a lot about how to use advanced training strategies like altitude, like heat training to improve your HYROX ability. Ryan's been going through an altitude training camp. So it's really cool to hear his perspective. Then we catch up on some footwear talk, just some general prep for our event in DC, which is coming up this upcoming weekend. We'll see you out there. If you're there, love to say hello. Take a look at the RMR Training app. We have, I think, 14 different programs now for the HYROX athlete. We just released our HYROX 8-week program, which is a really nice block of time to help you get prepared for your next event. Also, the build that I put in for, I think, 9 or 10 weeks leading up to Phoenix, my exact training, is up on the app as well. So you can take a look at that. It has my training, then it has broken down to intermediate and beginner too, so you can kind of scale down, but you can get a decent sense of what I was doing leading into Phoenix, where I did run a PR, and I'm happy about that. So we really appreciate you listening. The RMR Training Podcast is myself, Ryan Kent, Meg Jacoby. We talk about HYROX and HYROX alone. So really appreciate you taking a look. If you're looking to get better at HYROX through an audio platform, this is your spot. Let's get into it, my guy, Ryan Kent. All right. Hello. Welcome to the RMR Training Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan, joined by Ryan Kent. Back in Colorado, man. How's it feel? It's been,
dude.
Been some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm only, 20 minutes from where you're at right now?
Right down the road. You're in the foothills. You moved
it's been
March
like
of
2
20.
years.
Yeah, it was about almost on the nose.
Almost 2 years to the day.
Right. I remember it was after DC. We were in the Springs for my birthday, which is in mid-March, and we stopped by your old spot and picked up the Mini, and we had that, and we were whipping that thing for a while.
Yeah.
So that was like,
I forgot about that, dude.
yeah, we had your car for like some time.
Holy crap! Yeah,
it was great. It was great
wild.
after we had the car, because we only had one. After we had your car for a minute, we went out and got another car, because having two cars is much better than just one. We just live that suburb life.
Yeah.
So
no, but it's
what's
been
the
good.
deal?
The altitude kicked my ass, I would say, the first week or so, but I think I've gotten used to it. Body remembers what it's like to be up here. But I came out here to do some content and some sponsor stuff with Rep Fitness, who is based out of Denver, and decided to extend the trip. Let's just put it that way, and spend a little more time at altitude, bring the family out, and really just kind of go all in on this race for DC to see if we can punch our ticket to World Championships. That was kind of like the whole purpose behind all this.
Yeah, I love the idea, right? It's like, it is just some professional athlete stuff, just like taking some advanced techniques, building it around like an A race, because this is essentially your A race for the season, right? Up until this point.
100%.
Where the fall, did you have one circled, or you were kind of like, hey, we're just getting reps, and then we'll
pretty much just getting reps.
Try to get into a spring major, which you've done. Now you're in for DC, and it's like, hey, when I get into this World Championship opportunity, this will be my A race. So that's kind of where you're at, right? In terms of like season planning.
Yep.
Yeah. And then if things go well, there's Warsaw as well, right? So like you kind of set up the fall for your spring for the A race.
For sure. Yeah. And obviously punching the ticket in DC would be the ideal scenario here.
That'd be great.
But, if I am able to, let's just say hypothetically I run, a 54 and don't punch my ticket, but I get a really fast time, and then I go to Houston a few weeks later and run another really fast time that could potentially put me into the Elite 15 for the final major. So there's two different scenarios at play here, but none of it matters if I don't show up and race well in DC.
So like this is the A race, right? So when it comes to pulling out the stops for being prepared, like this is the one to do that for. And we talk about sometimes like how to structure your season in the RMR training app. We talk about that a lot. There's a lot of questions like, hey, what should I do? How should I kind of like where should I pick my spots? Like how should I train leading up to this race if I have other races around? So you've kind of taken like that approach, but to the next level in terms of like, hey, how can I be even more prepared than just like training normal? So you took like an advanced training strategy. So like you've lived at altitude for years, right? Like
Yeah.
a decade total,
maybe
something like that, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
And since 2 years ago, moved back to sea level on the East Coast, and so you're very familiar with how to train with it and what it does. So tell what was the thoughts around like, hey, let me bounce back up to sea level for a bit. Like, how are you hoping
You
this
mean
is going to help
altitude?
you? Oh yeah, my bad. Jump it back to altitude.
Well, I mean, I've just had really good results after spending time at altitude over the years. I have a ton of data that has shown me that, spending anywhere from 3 weeks to, years, you're going to get some sort of boost. I've never had like a negative effect from spending time at altitude. So, and I've always been a good responder to altitude. I don't know that everyone necessarily responds the same way to being at altitude, but I've always been a really good responder. And I think not just the physical benefits that come along with that, which I don't know all of the science behind it. I know it increases your red blood cell production. It's basically, legal blood doping, really. But what it does for your mentality is, I think, equally important. I feel like living here so many years and racing at sea level, I always felt like that was like a feather in my cap that not a lot of people had. So every time I showed up to a sea level race, living at altitude, training at higher elevations, it was almost like I was showing up to the race with like a V8 engine inside of my body, and everyone else is using a V6. I just felt like I had more horsepower. And yeah, the opportunity presented itself here. And I was like, you know what, man, I've been grinding for 2 years to try to get my way back to where I feel like I still can compete at that level. You know what? Why not use this opportunity and see if we can capitalize on it and increase our fitness, increase our just like mental strength, mental fortitude, and show up ready to rock.
That's the thing. I'm gonna take a stab at the physical part in a bit, like what actually happens. Like I kind of know, not really, but I'll give it a shot. But the RPE, that like the boost that it's going to give you, like when you come up, if anyone is from sea level and they just like make a trip to whatever, Colorado, Big Bear, wherever, and like you go for runs, you're like, man, that was really hard, or you notice like a little bit more breathlessness. That definitely happens, right? That definitely happens if you are away from altitude for an extended period of time. Even at living at altitude, like the breathlessness is like pretty constant. So when you come down, it just feels easier to breathe. If nothing else, that is the biggest boost. Like it feels easier to breathe. You can take it. It feels like you're taking in more oxygen because of the red blood cells that you've created, but also just like it feels easier. Right. So just from that perspective, coming up and coming back down, I think is really beneficial. Just so when you come back down, you're like, oh, I'm here. Where like if you do it once, I wonder how much of a benefit it would have. Like you've done it so many times, come up and back down. like if you've done it once, it's probably hard to rationalize or kind of project how it's going to show up for you on race day if you haven't experienced it. But that's kind of what I would say. It's like it just feels like a little bit easier.
You could do the same paces that you typically would, but yeah, like to your point, rather than an RP of 8 or 9, it might feel like a 6 or 7.
Yeah,
Doing the same thing.
100%.
So
our guy BK Bracken Crocker of the Running Public, he lived in the Springs for a while, right? And so when I was starting to live here and just kind of wrap around, he said something like, and I was kind of thinking about how to adjust, like how can I project how my races are going to go based off of this? And he was like, it's still uncomfortable, but you have like an extra gear at sea level that you don't have at altitude. So when you're at sea level, you just have to trust it and just kind of go into it.
Yeah.
And like trust that you can do it. And I think that is a fair assessment of it. It's like this might not feel like the speed might not feel faster, but your ability to go faster and not suffer as much, I think is a real benefit of it.
I just did a quick little ChatGPT because I was curious how much less oxygen there actually is up at let's just say 6,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about 20%.
Wow.
So imagine trying to train the way we do with 20% less oxygen. Your body gets acclimated to that, and then you reintroduce 20% more oxygen when you go back to sea level.
Right. I mean, it has something to do with like the density of the oxygen in the air. It might be the same, but it's like spread out more, I think. And yeah, like when what your body adapts to things, just how it does to training, and the way that it copes with less like oxygen that you take in with each breath is by increasing the red blood cell count, which are the oxygen carrying cells in your blood. So that is kind of how you said it. It's kind of like how blood doping is. That's basically what blood doping does. You can also get some similar adaptations from heat training. Like if you're consistently in the sauna or a hot tub or something like that, but it's like harder to train that way. Here, just living and just like being up and training here, it's just going to work. It's just going to get you those adaptations. I've never done blood work. I should have. It'd have been cool if you would have done blood work first and then came up.
I know,
and then
right?
After.
I know. There's two things I wanted to say. What is blood doping again? When do they take the blood out?
Like how much time? I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question because it has to be long enough for your body to. So I guess 2 weeks. I guess that's what they say, right? Like this, I'm just guessing. I think it's about like if you give blood, if you like donate blood, like your energy levels will be lower for I think about 2 weeks is what they say. So I remember a buddy of mine in college gave blood in season because he's just like a good person, and my coach was like, what are you doing? Like you just like ruined several weeks of training. Don't do that ever again. He's like, don't be a good person. And
I used to do that just to get out of class.
just have it.
I gave blood 6 times today.
you just like stole the sheet of stickers and just like had it on you, like you're sure. Yeah, gave blood. Couldn't make it. So I would guess like 2 weeks, and yeah, I think they reintroduced it like immediately, and that's kind of how I don't know a ton about how EPO works, but EPO is a medication to help people that need to have like more oxygen in their cells. I don't know exactly what it's for at all. I just know that that's how people kind of cheat the system. But you can introduce EPO, and EPO sends that signal to your body to create more red blood cells. So being higher, you are getting a higher EPO signal at altitude, or if you're spending a lot of time in the sauna, you will naturally produce that, but you can introduce it externally. And I think it happens like real quick too. I think it's like and I think it's out of your system immediately. Like it happens, it sends a signal. And so like EPO is like pretty tough to catch people doing. But that's the same kind of thing. Like if you hear people like failing drug tests or they're on EPO, it's giving them red blood cell. And I don't know how much more, like if it's just like, okay, you're at altitude, and if you take EPO, like is there a limit to how many red blood cells you get? I don't know, but I'm guessing any like one more that you get that you couldn't get is going to be like helpful.
How long do you feel like it took you to fully adjust to being at altitude? Because I remember when you first moved here, we did a couple training sessions together. We went to Fit Fokker and did a Deca strong and a Deca mile, I think even too. And I feel like you were struggling for like quite a while
For
trying
sure.
to adjust to training up here. But now looking at you and seeing, I've been in the gym with you a few times now since I've been here. And, you know, like some of the sessions we did when we lived here, you were running north of 6-minute mile pace for a lot of these workouts. And now obviously you're much, much faster. So I'm just curious how long it felt like for you to adjust to the altitude.
So when I was in it, yeah. So we moved here. That was 21. Dude, we did a Deca strong like the second day. I moved here in like February. And and you're just like, yo, I'm coming up north. And we like had met, but we weren't like boys like that. He's like, coming up north, like, and there's a ton of snow on the ground. It was super cold. And I went and did this Deca strong.
It was cold.
And got murdered. and then that Deca mile, that was like probably the most I've ever blown up at altitude. I couldn't believe my time was like, what are good Deca mile times? You were probably 18 something at the time.
I think you were like 20.
I like didn't qualify because I was like, am I gonna have to go to sea level to get I didn't qualify for Deca mile that year because I blew up so bad that day. So like in the time after like 2 months, I was like, all right, I'm here. And then after like 6 months, I was like, oh, actually, like now I'm doing better. And then finally, after like 9 months, I was like, oh, I can actually do what I want to do here. So for me, I actually got less fit because I was coming from sea level and just trying to do like the exact same stuff. And there was probably other things too. It was like I did move across the country. It was like a whole thing, but like, and I didn't really know how to manage the altitude. So I was just missing workouts over and over. And I actually did get less fit for a small stint. But like you said, now it's just like, okay, now I know how to do it. So it took like building blocks to come along the way to get there. So now I can execute on the actual training to build it together. But for like what you did is like it's a shorter stint. I'm really interested in how this is going to make you feel because I think this is the appropriate way to do it. If you don't have a year to live here to adjust to train to retrain everything, I think like 2 weeks, you're going to be closer to a month, right? Or 3 weeks?
3.5, almost 4 weeks.
What do you think the least amount of time someone could spend at altitude? Like, so say someone wants to do something similar to what you've done and they have a big race and they want to get a little RPE boost. What do you think is appropriate?
To get an RPE boost, I don't think you need much time.
Like a week?
I bet a week. I bet a week could get you a little something.
Like how many like 3 quality sessions?
Maybe 2.
Maybe just 2?
Yeah. I think 2.
The first one you're gonna do and it's gonna not go well.
You know? Yeah, you should honestly, from my experience, from what I did, I just was like, I'm going off of RPE the first couple sessions. I just need to feel this out. I didn't want to risk blowing the workout completely and not executing it the way that it was meant to be done. So I just went completely off of feel those first couple workouts.
That's smart. Because like, have you monitored your heart rate since, or are you still kind of doing pace and RPE?
You know, I'm a pace and RPE guy.
You're not looking at it at all post? Not really.
No,
because that is, I've seen two things for me. Like, for me, the limiter is like the breathlessness, like the oxygen levels, and like that slows me down before my heart rate can really like get really to where it's going. Like I can get a better heart rate benefit dosage at sea level, like sitting at something higher longer because I don't have like this oxygen debt to deal with as much. Where what I found here is like I will just become breathless and I need to slow things down before my heart rate gets to a point where it's like, okay, you're past what you're capable of doing from a heart rate perspective. So if you come and do heart rate stuff, like you might see an immediate spike, or like your recovery metrics might get worse from like sleeping, because like you're probably are going to have to breathe a little bit more. Your heart rate is probably going to have to be a little bit higher to get the blood to where it needs to go. And that's something I've definitely found is like being here and then dropping to sea level, my resting heart rate drops like 3 beats or something like that. So if you're coming up the other direction, that's something you're looking at. You could expect something like that's like, oh, this is like way higher. But it is just kind of like calibrated. It's just still kind of like normal.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I don't know that I've had one true zone 2 effort since I've been here. I feel like even on my easy days, my heart rate, the average heart rate might be zone 2, but there are probably portions of that run or whatever that is getting up into zone 3, just because, again, like there's less oxygen up here. So you're kind of more in that gray zone that we've talked about before. You're not really training super easy, but you're also not training super hard. And like the RPE was like at a 4 or 5, but the heart rate might have been in like that zone 3 range. So, which I think is okay.
I think that's fine. Like I said, it's more of a calibration, right? It's like your heart rate's up a little bit, your pace is down a little bit, and like as long as the effort is where it should be, like you're probably gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're that really at risk of overtraining because you have a couple extra beats.
I honestly think 2 weeks you could see some pretty significant gains, for lack of a better term, depending on where you're at elevation wise. If you're 6,000 feet and above, I think 2 weeks is enough time to get some sort of boost from being.
I think that's what the science says too. Like 2 to 4 is like when you will start to feel that or your body will start to adapt. So when you come down, like you might not even feel better. Like when you're at altitude, like every workout might just be like super hard. But then when you drop back down, like you will have the adaptations of the extra blood cells. So you should be able to perform after 2 weeks. But like you said, after like 1 week, you'll get that RPE boost. Like you'll come down and be like, this feels easier. So I do think there's value and a risk that you can kind of run if you're not familiar with it. Like you mentioned, like you are just like, you've been here so many times, you know what the expectations are. But if you're like, I'm going to do an altitude camp, and I'm going to go for 6 or 8 weeks and you've never done it before, like then I think it's fairly risky because your fitness is not like built yet, so like you have to build fitness through those 6 or 8 weeks and it's going to be hard to hit your workouts. Like, I don't know. Like, so when you're like what you're doing, you have this huge base that you've built and your fitness is really high coming into this. And now you're just like executing here. So when you drop back down, there's not really a risk of like loss of fitness. It should just be RPE boost. So that's something else to consider because that's what I experienced. Like I got less fit. So like if you're trying to do a big bulk camp, I think a shorter one's better.
Might be right. I hope so.
We'll see.
What's been interesting though is to watch the progress of my quality sessions get better every single one. Like, typically I'm only doing 2 quality days per week. And so since I've been here, I've had, I don't know, like six really true quality days. Obviously doubling up on those days as well, but like to see and feel the progress that has happened since originally getting here has been kind of wild, to be honest. Like I legitimately, the first session I did, I was running like 4-minute Ks, like that was all I could handle.
And it's probably sucked.
And then the second workout, okay, we're down to 345, 350 Ks. And then the third workout, we're down to 330s. And then, sub 330. And now I'm holding like 320 Ks up here at altitude. And it's just been wild to kind of watch and feel the body kind of adapt to the environment that I've been in. It's pretty cool. And now I'm not really far off of what the paces I would typically do at sea level.
Right.
Which is like money.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what do you think that was? You think it was just the expectation, or you think you just kind of like, hey, it's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm okay? Or you think there was just actual adaptations that you're like, I'm actually improving because my body's improving?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure.
But it is happening.
Yeah.
But it is happening. What's important. Oh, I had something else for the altitude thing. What
Have you
else?
ever thought about? Have you ever thought about? Because obviously living at sea level and knowing how beneficial altitude training is, um, how beneficial do you think it is to like sleep in an altitude tent
Yes, yes, yes.
and train? Obviously you're living at sea level, but you're spending 8 to 10 hours a night at whatever elevation you want to set your tent to, 10,000 feet, 9,000 feet, but you're doing your quality workouts at sea level. I've been, toying around with potentially purchasing something like that, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know like, I would love to I should probably just do more research on it, to be honest.
From what I understand, that is what's ideal. It's hard here in the States because there's really not very many, areas of the country where you can live high and train low. I think Flagstaff is one, Southern California is potentially one, right? Like, if you lived in Big Bear, right, you could come
Probably
down, you
parts,
could what
maybe
what
parts of Utah somewhere.
maybe Utah's kinda like Colorado where everything is, like, really high for a long time, and, like, it's not like a
Yeah, that's
it's not
true.
like a it's not like a sharp climb. I think it's like a
Right.
gradual, maybe yeah, I think parts of Arizona, maybe some parts of New Mexico where you could, like, be at sea level in, like, an hour, um, because that's ideal, right? Because, like, then I think about that sometimes, like, especially when I first moved here, how far I can go into intensity is just capped. It's just always gonna be capped, especially, like, I'm looking at these CrossFit Open workout. Did you catch that one? Did you see it?
First one, yeah.
You like it?
26.1. Yeah.
You think you finish?
I don't know exactly the full workout. I
It's,
just saw like bits and pieces.
yeah, it's like a bunch of wall balls, box jump overs, and then some box step overs, but the cadence, like, I guess, like, it seems like really hard. Like, Lauren Weeks was 2 reps short of finishing, and she went
Oh man.
unbroken. I'm like, "How could that?" I don't even understand. So there's, like, a cadence situation, whatever, but, like, that workout, it's like a 12-minute time cap, is impossible. It's, like, impossible here at altitude. Like, the fastest mile run at altitude is, like, what, just under 4 minutes, I think, right? And it might be because people don't wanna waste those efforts, but I think here in Colorado, like, it's just recently, so, like, someone ran, like, 3:55, and people run 3:45s right now,
Right.
you know? So, like, that amount, that time duration is really, really challenging. And luckily here at HYROX, like, we are in an hour, but, like, there's just pockets of, like, popping intensity, so, like, being able to go really hard is extremely valuable, and that's just, like, a spot that I, like, can't quite ever access. Um, so I do think it's very valuable to have, like, the live high, train low.
The only issue I see with that is like the feeling of it all, of training at the higher elevations,
The
you know?
RPE, yes,
Yeah.
you might not get that, um, but from what I understand, that this is something I was looking into, when we were doing OCR, right? A lot of, like, the big races, at least, like, no, yeah, several of the big races, right? Like, if it was in Utah, that was, what they call it? National series. If
Mhm.
Utah was a national series, Big Bear's national series, Tahoe was the world championships, and I'm living at sea level, and I'm looking at these tents the same way, but the best way to get prepared for competing at altitude is to, like, train, to go hard at altitude.
If
I
the competition is at altitude.
Yes, so you can't
Yeah.
really replicate that through a tent unless
Right,
you, like,
right.
um but some of these tents, what if you just, like, this tent I'm looking at right
Well,
now is big, it's
listen,
like, pop a treadmill in there,
so well, right.
just pull
Some
the bed
people,
out.
dude, I think, uh, gosh, what's his name? Grant Fisher, I think, has turned his whole house into like an
Oh my
altitude
god,
chamber.
doesn't is he in Oregon, or is he? He's at
So
Amazfit. I thought he was in
I
Utah or
think he's
something.
in Utah, but I think he might live at lower elevations, maybe like 4,000 feet. And then his house is at
And he lives
like
at 10?
10 plus or something,
Huh.
which is crazy.
I wonder.
Um, but I mean, I told you this the other day. Like if I end up going to DC and, you know, things work out, I think we're gonna have to move. We're gonna have to move back to altitude.
Come on back.
Just pack the fam up. We're coming on back. But yeah, it'll be interesting. This is one of the first times, which I have done this before. I have done a shorter stint before. This was well before I even did Spartan race stuff, but I haven't had much experience with the living at sea level and then doing like shorter stints at altitude. I've done obviously like lived at altitude, raced at sea level,
right.
but not many times have I taken this approach. So this, I am, like you said earlier, like I'm very interested to see kind of how I respond to this, because my fitness level before arriving here was, in my estimation, like pretty damn high. And then to add, a month at altitude on top of that. Yeah, I'm just very intrigued to see how that all plays out. And obviously, like, altitude's not going to be it's not going to save you. Like if the fitness isn't built, altitude isn't on it, and they're just going to miraculously make you a better athlete. But if you have the fitness on top of that, yeah, who knows what's going to happen.
For sure. It could definitely help that way. But yeah, I think that there is value to like being low and for a lot of these workouts. And sometimes I wish I could be lower, maybe like once a month or something like that, just to come and really punch something. That would, and like in Colorado, it's just like not like, it's like what is it, like a 4-hour drive to get close to sea level.
It might even be more.
Yeah, like it's like not easy to get there from here. So it's like, do I get on a flight to do a workout? Probably not.
Little trip to Kansas City.
Right, it's like a little 8-hour jaunt across Kansas. We'll be doing some ski erg intervals today. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's like a fun way to play around with that. And like I said, I also mentioned the heat thing, and that is something that the heat protocols, you can get some really good benefit from that. But again, like you're not going to get, to me, like it's the breathlessness. Like I keep mentioning this, is how the air feels taking it in. For me, that is really the boost. Where like if you're doing like heat training or like where you're doing active, right? You're like overdress. There are some like sensors you could wear too that will tell you your like approximate core body temp. And that could help with these actual adaptations that we're talking about. You can do passive as well, where you're sitting in a sauna for 30 to 40 minutes, like every day. Same with like a hot tub, but you're just like sitting there. Like you can definitely get these adaptations, but the training part, like the breathing and the feeling is going to be hard to replicate without training here. And that's probably
along the breathing. Yeah. With the breathing thing, I've noticed, and I think living here for so long, I didn't really notice the altitude as much. I think my body just got so used to it. But now coming back, I'm like, oh, like this is a thing. Like this actually, like there's less oxygen up here and I can't breathe as well. And the biggest thing I've noticed is the recovery in between like intervals. Like if you want to hit the same paces that you hit at sea level, you might need to double the recovery time after those intervals.
Oh yeah.
If you want to execute the pace. So like, for example, if you're doing like, an EMOM or something, and you're doing 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off at a certain pace on the ski, for example, that 20 seconds might not be enough for your heart rate to drop before it's time to work again. So you may have to do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, rather than 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. Just it takes a little bit longer for that heart rate to drop and recover. That's like one of the big things I've noticed.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to do it. Yeah, like increase the rest or decrease the duration of the interval. Something that I did, it's really effective. And I kind of recommend this for anyone who's kind of starting out, like trying to find a threshold pace, is just doing like 400s at threshold, which is slow. It's like doesn't feel fast at all. And just like stringing together a bunch of them with very short rest. And then once you start stringing together these 400s, you can make them 600s, you can make them 800s. And like you can get a better sense. Because if when I first came here, I was like, okay, in my progression, I'm doing miles. And then they went terribly. It's like, okay, I'm like 20 seconds slower than where I want to be. But if I was doing 400s, like I could be around it.
Right. Yeah.
So if like the speed, and again, for HYROX, like the speed of the event, it's really not that fast. It's the capacity that you need first. And then then once you can execute the race completely, then I think you can kind of start thinking about speed on the runs. And so like capacity first, I think, but in an event where speed does matter, if you're doing DECA, if you're doing road race, or say you are at this point in your HYROX where you're like, I need to get like actually turnover faster, then just going shorter with short rest, like 400s. Like you can get the same type of threshold response, but just with a way more reps, as opposed to just being like, I'm going to do 10 minutes of threshold. Like it's just gonna be like slow.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be like hard, like really hard to like sit and hang in it. So that's like,
Right.
I struggle. And then I remember I started that progression. I was just doing like, I did like 16 by 400. And like it got really hard. And then, but I was able to then just kind of build and build and build. And that was not long. I think that was like my second like season training here, is where I was like, all right, I just need to like go all the way back to the very start before I can like really think about.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's just like how it is.
That's what it, yeah, that's wild. And that's, I mean, it's not like Denver's crazy high either. So imagine being at, some of these other mountain towns like Flagstaff that's, 8,000 feet.
Is it that high?
Like,
Sheesh.
yeah.
That's just where like, yeah, if you went out and trained in Breckenridge,
Right.
like you're just not getting any speed at all.
Right.
If you go
You
out
have
there,
to do
just
like
do zone
200s.
just doing 80 200s today with 20 seconds of rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like I think there's like a bit of diminishing returns, right? Especially when it comes to speed. And that, to me, that probably starts at 7. Like if I'm at 7, I'm gonna be like, I don't think this is gonna go very well. But that's kind of what I think. What do you think on like where your top, where would you do like a quality session and with expectations of like actually going fast?
I would say anything north of 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Mammoth for many years. Anybody familiar with Mammoth Lakes, California?
That's 8 or 9.
That is
okay,
around
right?
8. It's at 8,000 feet, but the track sits at about 7,000 feet. And I've had some pretty good track workouts at 7,000 feet. But I'm sure there's also something to living 1,000 feet higher and then dropping to where the track is. So, and I even noticed that here because my Airbnb for almost 2 weeks was right around 8,000 feet. And then I dropped down to 53 or 54 where Arsenal is in Arvada, and could feel an RPE difference from 8,000 down to 50. So I'm dropping 2,500 feet, and I'm doing some of my zone 2 runs up there at 8,000 feet. So I guess there's levels to the whole
For sure. Shoot, what was I just gonna say?
I don't know, man. That's
Dang,
the second time.
something.
That's the second time today.
Dang, brain's no good. I'm at altitude all the time. Brain doesn't work that good.
I'm curious to know, like, how much would you, and this might be a silly question, maybe it's not, but like, how much would you attribute your success this last season, maybe even 2 seasons? You've really come into your own this season, but like, how much credit would you give living at altitude?
I mean, not zero. When you look at the list, right? I have the list up of the Warsaw list. Like Hunter has access, right? He will do some altitude stuff. He goes in and out. None of the Europeans, like I don't think there's anywhere really in Europe other than like
no.
Like, I guess you can go
Switzerland, maybe.
Switzerland, but like, are there towns that you can like train at? Like maybe, but it's just like such a mountain running. Like maybe there's something like that. Maybe Tim has some access because he lives in Munich, which is, I don't know how high it gets. Like, I don't know how high the German Alps get, but it's like, it's there. But like, it's really like, I'm the only one who lives at altitude out of like out of all of it, out of like the top 40.
Crazy.
It's got to matter some.
I think so.
It's got to matter like a little bit.
I mean, it doesn't take away the work that you've put in, but
and there's and for me to live like a place like here, like the biggest benefit is just the quality of life and just like the access to like fitnessy things. You know, it's just like the mindset of being in a place like this where like there are other athletes around. People do take this seriously. And that was a big reason why we came here because dudes like you were living here, like, you know, VJ Jack, there's a whole bunch. Mark Cadet was out here, I think, when I first moved. There's a whole slew of like OCR hybrid guys who were living out here. And I was like, okay, this is cool as like a bit of a network. So like the shift of just like mindset, like being here, living here has helped me in terms of my performance, like, yes, physiologically, but also just psychologically. It's like, okay, I live in Colorado now. Like, this is where like the like Boulder up the roads, like that's where like the best runners in the country live. You know, like this is like kind of like the Mecca. So it's a little bit, I think that's a lot of it too, of just like, okay, I'm here, I'm taking this more serious. So now like it's like a big step in terms of commitment. And then also, of course, the physical.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I train by myself, like pretty much 100% of the time, and I do 100% of my HYROX workouts in my garage, and there's no one else there, and that's okay. Like I work fine in those conditions, but I will admit that being here for the time that I've been here, I've had to commute to gyms and converse with people and train alongside others and things that I typically don't do. And I do think that's a game changer. Like had I done the workout I did yesterday with, you know, I was in there, you were in there, Isaac was in there. We're all doing our own.
We're all racing, but we're all racing DC. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're all doing our own individual thing. But just having you guys in there got me to like level up my game for that workout. And it's like, man, if I was in here by myself, would I have executed it that well? You know? And so I don't know, it's got me thinking a little bit, just the sense of community, I think just really is really powerful.
I know.
And this is a great eye opener. And, you know, for me with that, I'm like, man, maybe I should, even though I have everything I need in my garage, maybe I should get a gym membership and go be around like other like-minded people a little bit more, because maybe it's going to get me to get that extra 1% of 1% out of me that day. And that's been really cool to kind of get that while I've been here.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Just the presence of others is helpful, right? Like, because I'm the same way. Like, I train almost exclusively by myself, but yes, I do have this awesome community down in Arsenal of people who like are kind of doing the same stuff, even though if it's not the exact same thing. They like understand, and like being there and being around like is like a different kind of energy. And I felt that yesterday too. I was doing those wall balls. I was like, damn, I can't be dropping this ball like that with my dudes right here. Got to keep it rolling. Where I would probably just like have put it down much earlier.
Right.
So I definitely feel that. And there's pros and cons to that. Like if you're exclusively working out with the community, like you can just like kind of overdo it because of that, or like it might lose its power. Like picking the spots and knowing when you need to go all the way there and using that fuel from others as opposed to like leaning on that fuel, like needing that fuel, is a bit of a differentiator. So like if you're only taking classes and you're always pushing super hard, it's not like, it might be a little bit too much.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when you go race, it's just you.
It's just you.
Just you.
You do have that energy of those good feels of the people around. Oh, what I was thinking is Mexico City, they race there, and that's 7,500 feet. That would be no thanks. It's just like,
I think
I'm good.
what was the winning time? I think it was like 104.
Oh yeah,
Which might convert to sub 60 at
for
sea
sure.
level.
I think Palau ran 60-30 in Guadalajara, and that's right around 5K. So like 60 flat at altitude, like I think that's on. He's probably in 56, 55 high, 56 mid shape right now. So like, yeah, like is it worth 4 minutes? Like maybe. Maybe. And there's altitude conversion things for running, but it's hard to say exactly like what does that do for your sled push. We were talking yesterday, like burpees are way harder. That's one place I do feel a bit of a boost coming down because I think it is more of like aerobic limiter on burpees. So like doing them and then running after is really hard here.
It's super hard.
It sucks.
That would be the big one that I've noticed. Even, I mean, my wall ball struggled quite a bit when I first got here too. Like I was breaking way more often than I needed to. And now we're okay. But
and that might be another thing where it's might not be as beneficial here because we're not getting, it's like almost training with like a heavier ball, right? It's like, yes, the RPE boosts up, but if you can only do like 30 reps at a time, it's like you're not really getting the full stimulus of like the 100, like, or a big chunk, like you get to sea level, you hope. This is what happens every time. I was like, I get there, I hope it's gonna be fine. And then it's like I'm tired. I don't think I felt this. So that could be another reason why sea level might be a little bit better. You've been playing around with some shoes. You drove out here. You brought 24 shoes with you. You bought some other shoes while you've been here. What are you thinking? Where are you landing for DC?
Well, coming out here, I didn't know what I was going to need, so I just brought. And since I drove, I just threw like 15 pairs of shoes. I got trail shoes, running shoes, my HYROX shoes, hanging out shoes, recovery shoes, and multiples of each, just depending on what the situation called for.
Can't be too ready.
No. But I had something happen in Phoenix that I haven't experienced fully, maybe a little bit in some other races, but Phoenix was one where I had some serious issues with the bottom of my shoes gripping the turf when I was racing doubles with Colin. I got to the sled push and really could not access my strength and fitness because my feet were slipping out. I was wearing the Adios Pro 4s, which have worked for me in the past, but for whatever reason, this lane that we were in, my feet were slipping out from underneath me. And then on the pull, when I would try to dig my feet into the turf to really get a good leverage on the pull, my feet were honestly like sliding in front of the line almost. So I wasn't able to use like what is a strength of mine in the HYROX race. And, obviously DC being such an important race for me, I can't go into a sled station and be worrying about my grip on the shoes. So purchasing a couple different pairs of shoes. Thankfully, the turf at Arsenal feels somewhat similar to the turf in the race. So you
need to go a little heavier, but the turf itself, like you can get there.
It's close. Yeah, it's close. So I think the shoe I'm going to end up going with, I don't want to say unfortunately, because it's a good shoe, but it's those new HYROX DV8 Nitro Elite 4s, the HYROX version, the pink shoes. They feel really good when I'm running. They've got good grip on not just like the forefoot on the bottom, but even on the heel in the back. Whereas a lot of these other shoes, the Nike Streak Flies, they've got great grip on the forefoot, but in the back, it's just like smooth foam. Like there's like no grip at all. So, and then you let me try on the Mizuno Wave Rebellion lows.
Wave Rebellion Pro Low.
And I kind of like the way those feel. And I was like, do I need to buy another pair?
Dude, they're on sale.
Decide what, don't tell people.
You gotta cop them. I grabbed 2 pairs yesterday.
But it sucks that matters still, because it,
Yep.
part of the reason but HYROX went the turf route was to potentially eliminate these kind of scenarios from happening. But clearly, like, the turf doesn't fix all the problems, and if you don't have traction on the bottom of your shoes, some of these stations are going to cost you a lot more energy than maybe they need to.
For
so
sure.
I was like, you know what, we're gonna find a shoe that works, and we landed on the DV8 Nitro Elite 4s.
It's gonna be out there looking like everybody else.
I know. I don't like it.
That's the biggest bummer. And yeah, we were talking. They do sell the HYROX. You bought them on Running Warehouse, but they also have the regular DV8 Nitro Elite. But the ones that say HYROX do have a different outsole. They do have technically, yes, I think that this is the first ever shoe really developed. No, I'm not gonna say developed. Really shoe made. No, I don't even know how to say it, because it's not made for HYROX. Right. The shoe is still their Marathon Elite shoe. They just put a different outsole on it. It's literally like spec for spec the same, except that, I guess, modified. The first shoe modified for HYROX, I guess, is the best way to put it. And it is that. And the grip is pretty good. The grip is pretty good. So
it's not as good as the Mizuno's, but
isn't that crazy? Like, they're like, this is the HYROX shoe, and like this other shoe that's just like not made for HYROX. They don't even know what HYROX is at Mizuno.
Right.
And like, it's better for HYROX, in my opinion.
Get that sponsorship, dog. Get that Mizuno deal.
They're like, you play softball or HYROX? I'm like, not softball. They don't know a thing. I mean, there's HYROX in Japan now, so maybe they'll come around, but doubtful. And I think they're getting rid of the Rebellion Pro. I think that Hyper Warp series is replacing it.
Uh-oh.
That's why I have 4 pairs of Pro highs and now 4 pairs of Pro lows.
Honestly, putting those on my feet it's crazy. I think especially on the pull, like how much it can make a huge difference if your feet can really just like stick like glue to that turf, how much more you can lean into the pull and get so much more out of every single pull that you make, versus if you're kind of a little bit of slippage happening every time.
If you start slipping, you like grip the rope harder, and then that just like takes more out of you, and like it's just, and like you can't, you're slower then because you lose momentum. Like if you slip forward, if everything needs to be moving backwards on the pull, at all times. If anything moves forward at all, it's just going to be so much slower and way harder.
Yeah.
So Pumas it is. I like the way those Pumas feel though. I really like the DV8 Nitro Elite 3. I wore them for a lot of training.
Same.
But again, like, I don't necessarily think it's made for HYROX, but it's like as good as we're gonna get right now.
Yeah. Make sure, like you said, when you're ordering these shoes, that you do get if you're looking for the one with the grip, you do get the HYROX version if it's available in your size, because the normal DV8 Nitro Elite 4s do not have that outsole. So if you purchase it thinking it's going to have it on there, it's not going to. Like, it has to be the one that says HYROX.
It has to be the HYROX and the bright pink. So, yeah, like that's just what it is.
I'm like, do I need to buy another pair of those? Fuck.
Maybe. Yeah, and they're $10 more. And you got your Adidas coming out. I mean, you're an Adidas guy.
And I have been, but I don't know about these ones.
They look interesting. I really like the look of them. I think that they're like a beautiful shoe. This is the if you haven't seen, Adidas did like a big event, big rollout to introduce their new hybrid racing shoe called the Drop Set Elite, I think it's called. And it's very interesting looking to me. So the Drop Set is their they have a shoe called the Drop Set, which is like their Metcon, their like cross trainer, which makes sense. The naming convention called the drop set for a HYROX shoe makes no sense to me at all. Like a drop set is something you do at the gym. Like you will, if you're doing dumbbell bench press, do like 70s, and then you immediately drop to a lower weight so you can do more reps. That's what a drop set is. That has nothing to do with HYROX or hybrid racing at all. So I think the naming convention is bad. To start, there's no plate in it. That I think is just weird.
Yeah, that's strange.
It's stacked 44 millimeters without, and then the insole is another 4 millimeters. So it's actually stacked like 48 millimeters and a 12 millimeter offset.
Ooh.
I know, which is like a lot. So I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand that either. And without a plate, when it's stacked that high, like they put a plate in the middle of the high foam to give a little bit of stability and to make sure that foam can compress against the plate in the middle. So like it gives a little bit more rebound. So if it's just foam, it's going to be like so soft. Yeah. It is just going to feel like it looks like a marshmallow. We'll see. And the grip on the bottom, it looks like better than the Takumi's, but like I wasn't like wowed by it. I haven't seen it. Yeah. I don't know how raised it is. It looked not that raised.
Will they be racing in those soon? Like right away?
I think Tim ran Melbourne in them.
Okay.
Melbourne. And I think maybe even Hamburg. So I think so. They're coming out in like 2 weeks. I'm probably gonna get a pair. But
gotta test them out.
275 is a little bit. That's a little bit.
Did you end up keeping those Mizuno warp ones or whatever? I returned mine too.
Yeah, I bought a pair of the Mizuno Hyper Warp Pure. They felt awesome. Like I think on my feet, I was like, damn, I could run a 5K fast in these. But the grip on them, it had like the little triangles but like less of them, and the grip was just not even close. It just like I was like, I moved forward. The sled didn't move backwards at all.
Yeah, it sucks.
Damn. Why'd you return them?
They were half size too small. And I was
when you
also
ordered,
a little bit.
When you order your size?
Yeah.
They were running short.
No, I ordered 11.5, which is typically my size, but I needed to go up in that shoe. It was a little bit
short.
small.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sold on the grip either, so I was just like, all right, we're gonna return these.
Those are 300. Those are like $299. I was like, I can't be keeping these shoes around for like I'm not gonna train in these, like that was just couldn't do it. So that's tough. So
I guess before we get out of here, I do want to say that, no matter what happens next weekend in DC, I'm really glad I did this trip, like it's been fun to like hang out and see so many people and create memories with my family and revisit the place where my son was born and just like spend just time here. And it's a good, like, I don't know, like it's just nice to be in the mountains, man. The mountains are like where it's at. Like it's just good for my soul. And equally excited to get back into a normal routine afterwards. But yeah, man, like no matter what happens next week, and I'm so glad I did this trip and family got to come out and do it too, and spent a hell of a lot of money while being out here. But like, at the end of the day, man, like who cares?
What it's for.
Money comes, money goes, and at the end of the day, we have our, the memories are really what matter the most. And I've created some good ones these past couple of weeks. And I feel like I have a lot of people to thank, people who, even like right now I'm recording this podcast in Isaac's house. He let me come over and, use his Wi-Fi and record a podcast. And, so many people opening up their gyms to allow me to come work out, maybe even in times where the gym would be closed, and just, yeah, man, a lot of people played a huge role in everything that kind of went on the month that I've been here. So hopefully it pays off next weekend. But if it doesn't, man, it's been been a great time.
Yeah, sometimes we talk about like in terms of performance, like all the pieces of the puzzle for to be optimal, it like kind of need to be uh in place. So like and feeling good, right? Feeling happy, feeling fulfilled is like a big part of performance I found, at least for me, right? So this could be something for you as well. It's like, hey, this was just good for your mind, good for your soul, just like in a place happy, being around people. Like there's something to be said about that. Where if it's just like
Yeah.
it's like constant grind, constant pressure, like no fun, it's hard to perform well that way. So I hope for that reason, it alone, it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
So you,
Yeah,
so you've been
definitely.
missing Colorado? Did you know? Did you come out here and you're like, oh, I missed it more than I thought, or you're like kind of like, oh yeah, this is like what I remember and like is normal.
Oh, I think a little bit of both. The one thing that Sarah and I noticed when driving through the city itself was the traffic. We did not miss the traffic of the city. Um, Obviously, where we lived in Castle Rock, we weren't, we were far away from Denver, but like the second day we were here, we are just like, were there this many people here when we lived
Yeah,
here before? Like, was it this busy? Like, I don't know.
I
So
think so.
probably,
Yeah,
but
you just country folk now.
I know, man. Back roads all day.
Just dirt roads,
No, but
drinking Miller Lights.
it's been very nostalgic to be back and go back and run some of the same loops and trails that I've done when we lived here before. And um, I guess I got my fix for a little while. If things go well in DC, which I'll be honest, like I feel like I'm about to fuck shit up. I don't want to put my claim to the whatever right now, but it's like I feel like things are going to go really well. And if that happens,
First step, you got to feel like it's going to go well.
We're coming back to Colorado in the lead up to the World Championships. So there's a chance we might be back here in a couple months and doing something very similar to what we're doing right now.
Nice, man. Well, been cool to have you around.
You ready? Hey, you ready to catch that L, bro?
From who?
You ready to catch that L?
From who?
Come on, dog.
I don't know, man. Seeming like
R&R, we going at it.
It's going down. We can take 1-2, and that'll be cool with me. I'm feeling ready.
Real quick, I haven't raced a lot of you guys in a long fucking time.
No, yeah, I guess it was Glasgow. It's been about a year because that was right around this time, right?
It was actually.
Maybe a little earlier. I think it was like maybe like right now actually, because I got back the day before my birthday. So it's been about a year. Yeah, because I wish I could have hit some of these regional races, especially now knowing what the freaking qualifying system is. They just didn't tell us that, and they're like, oh, by the way, all those races in the fall that counts. It's like, oh, so we don't get to have we don't get to plan our season for next year. Okay, cool. They weren't gonna happen anyway, like with Amy doing November, so that wasn't happening. But yeah, this is cool. This is like I said it yesterday. I mean, literally what it is a super loaded regional race. And it is that like everybody who could possibly be at these races in North America will be at this one. So I think it's really cool. I really am excited for for a lot of athletes who this will be their first time experiencing like the full like Elite 15 thing. Yeah. Really cool, right? Like getting your name on like a jersey, doing the media. They're not going to use it. We're going to do all the media, but they're not going to use if you're like they don't even use mine. So they're like no one's getting their media used. You're going to go. But then like doing the briefing, doing the whole thing, racing at 9 p.m., not the coolest experience, but it's something. Being on a live stream that is like getting like your name called, it is just like cool. So I'm really excited for people to get a little taste of that. And then giving them work. I'm really excited just to give everybody all that work. That's what I'm most excited about. But no, I feel good. I mean, like I coming out of Phoenix, I was beat up, dude. I was not good. But I'm like just coming around feeling like completely healthy. Got worked in some mixed doubles last week, which was, good to get humbled a little bit, to understand how I got to run this race. And yeah, I mean, I just got to kind of do what I did in Phoenix. Just like same plan. That's it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen the course layout, if it's going to be grid or if it's going to be similar to what we had in. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be like what it was like in
Probably.
Phoenix, which was, so they don't want to flip the course around 2 days in a row. That's why we're racing at 9 p.m. because there are other athletes racing during the day.
Yeah, then it has to be on the same course.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it is going to be, with like some minor adjustments, which is like okay. It's a little crowded.
Burpees is not great.
I don't think sled pull is great. Like a lot of it's not great.
But at least on sled pull, you're not like toppling over people.
You still have your own. Yeah, like I came into burpees with 3 other guys. We caught, or 2 other guys. We caught another guy. So it's like we were the entire way across. There was nowhere to go. If there was someone behind us going faster,
nowhere for the judges to be.
Or for the judges to be. They're just guessing. They're like, hey, we think that's a yellow card. They're just dishing them out. That's how they roll.
Yeah.
But it'll be cool. So our race is 9 p.m. on Saturday. You're doing back-to-back 9 p.m. Sunday as well. Double race weekend. But we're gonna be out there, man. So I'm excited to be out there. This is a cool event. It's open for everybody else, but it's still like the North American Championship. So it's a cool event. It was a cool venue last time we came. I remember it being pretty cool. Security's no joke in DC. That was like my main takeaway. Do you remember how mean those security guards were last time we were there?
No.
You don't remember that? Like,
No.
we were trying to like be in and around the course, and they were just like, no. And like I remember them being like super mean. So respect the security when we're out there. Yeah. Anything else?
I mean, three-time national champ.
What
coming up?
You've won twice?
Yeah. The year I won. Actually, no.
No. The one year you got the 7th.
Was it?
That was a North American Championship when there were Europeans.
That's right. The Chicago was a major. Sorry.
Kind of, yeah. That was they called it the North American Championship, and your Chicago was a major, but it was a major, but they called it the North American Championship. But that was like the first time I had that 15 that drove me so crazy. Yeah. So this will be 2. Dylan's won. No. Has Dylan won one?
Magita's got one.
Magita's the only one. There's only been 2 North American Championships. Or maybe there is. Yes, I think that's it. So it's been you and Magita. Class of 04.
That's crazy.
So
let's go.
One left out from 04.
You're up next.
Yep.
Okay.
So we got to keep it old, dudes. This is my last race. This will be my last race in the 30 to 39, the 35 to 39.
Oh.
Magita has some months. I think he's younger. I think September or something like that. But yeah, are you the oldest guy in the field?
Whoa, bro, chill out.
I'm saying, let me look at this.
Look. I'm gonna make sure that is known. If I end up giving everyone that work, when they put that freaking camera in my face, I'm gonna let them know your daddy. Your daddy.
You're the oldest by a lot, by a ton. And then me. Then it's probably Hunter. Oh, Hunter's not in the race, but I think he's the next oldest, right? I'm not sure how old Gabe is.
I think most of these guys are in the 20s.
Young bucks, or like right at 30. Yep. Nope. Old heads, baby. Holding it down. Word. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Appreciate you being on. Appreciate y'all listening. Come say hello in DC. I think I'll be around the venue a little. I'm flying home on Sunday. I just got to get back, but I think I'll be around early. Daylight savings as well. So we're going to, not only is sleep going to be terrible, we'll lose an hour of sleep, right? Saturday to Sunday?
Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
I think that's daylight savings. No. No plans for the day on Sunday. At least you're racing at 9 p.m. It still sucks. All right, come say hello to the old dudes out there. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.